Welcome to the Kickin It with Kenny and Quinn podcast. I am your co-host, Quinn. This is my other co-host, Kenny. And today, we've got a great pod for you. We're ready.
I'm excited for this one. We're back, man.
Ah, man, we're back.
Every week.
I had a great morning.
You were late, but you're here.
I'm here.
Nothing stops
I'm here.
the pod.
Nothing stops the
Nothing
pod.
stops the pod.
I didn't say I would go to jail.
It looks like you came close.
Jail for this. Oh,
I've been waiting
shit.
to hear this story. So this morning,
Yeah, so this morning, this morning I had a shoot at one playground with Chris, our friend. He does a breathing retreat thing. Sorry, I'm trying to think of it. Anyway, so I'm driving along. I'm like 10 minutes away from home on my way to Marrickville, and then I see the sirens going and the lights, and I'm like, oh, well, it can't be for me. So I pull over. I'm thinking it's an ambulance because it's raining. Like today, it's raining, it's cold, it's windy, it's wet, it's all that. It's a miserable day. And anyway, so I pull over, and I'm in like a bus zone, and then the cop pulls. He's a cop. It's a cop.
Yeah.
Pulls me over, and I'm just like, what? Like, what's happening? So gives me the thing. Do the count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then I haven't been pulled over for probably 6 years because I sold my car when I first moved to Sydney, and then I've only just bought a car like last year. But then when he looked me up or whatever, I didn't know this, but my license has been suspended because of parking fines. Because
of parking fines?
Unpaid parking fines or whatever. So I don't know. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll check. Because he said, no, do you have it on your phone? And I was like, no, yeah. So I pulled it up and it says like license suspended. And I was like, fuck.
Since when?
Oh, like June 28th of June or whatever. And I was like, fuck, man. Of course this happened today. So he's like, why are you driving? And I'm like, I'm going to a job. Like, I'm late. I'm actually late for a job. And he was like, he's really nice. But he was like, hey, man, like, you can't be driving with a suspended license. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that's cool. I didn't know it was suspended. Like, when do I check that? Like, I don't go out. I don't ever show my ID. I just didn't know. And like, I don't know. I didn't get any mail or whatever or email. I don't know. Anyway, it was a big kerfuffle and I was very upset.
What was the damage?
Um,
I'm bringing it all back.
So, oh shit! Oh fuck! I had to.
What did it make you do, Quinn?
So I was in a bus. We were in a bus lane and whatever. And then he's talking to me, and there's this bus. And he's like, beep, 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 like get the fuck out. And I'm like, oh, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, anyway, hey man, you can't drive. And I'm like, all right, cool. What do you want me to do? And he's like, well, you have to drive it to the next available parking spot, and then you have to leave it. And I was like, fuck, man. All right. So I drove around, and I'm driving around. I'm driving around these roundabouts trying to find a park. And so I found this little thing and he's following me the whole way.
Wow.
And I'm thinking in my head, oh, do I just drive off? Like, that could be fun. I've never been in a chase before. Like, that'd be interesting. And so, yeah, I pull over and then he gives me the fine for driving on a suspended license. And then he's like, yeah, you're going to have to go to court. And I'm like, fuck.
Court? You have to go to court?
Have to go to court. And so the 9th of September, I have to go to
do what?
I don't know, to go to fucking traffic court or
But
something.
you can't just cop it? Like, can't you just
I don't
pay
know.
the fine?
That's why I was like, is he being nice to me or was that the dick move? Because he could have just been like, oh, hey man, I understand, but here's a fine.
What are you fighting for?
I have my license.
But if you just accept it.
I was thinking of other things, and I'm like, I'm already on the phone to you, and I sent you the message, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be late, and then I'm like ordering the Uber to get to the fitness playground.
Wow.
And I was like, oh man, this day couldn't get any worse. And it hasn't. It hasn't. So that's good. So if that's the worst thing that happens today, we're doing okay. But yeah, what a morning.
You still made it to the pod.
Yeah, of course. I said in my comments, I would go to jail for this pod.
You almost did.
I pretty much almost did. And I might still. Please write to me. Anyway, what are we talking about today, Kenny? What's on the agenda?
I really wanted to hear that story. I didn't know. I told you to keep it for the pod. I think it was worth it. That was good.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether any of it's worth it.
On to this week's episode. How to never run out of content ideas.
Well, there you go. There's one just there. You got pulled over by the cops and lost your license. That's a great content idea. You can definitely make a story about that. It's got three acts. First, getting into the car. Second, getting pulled over. And then third, having to walk in the rain to the job. Easy. There's one idea.
And still making it to the pod. So just making a story out of whatever happens in your day. Especially like turning negatives into a positives.
Yeah. I don't know if that's really a positive. Yeah, so never running out of ideas.
Yeah, which I think is a big, from listening to other podcasts, reading in forums, you hear over and over and over again people struggling with content ideas. And I think every creator's felt the being in a place where you just feel like you don't have any ideas or you don't have any good ideas. You feel like you don't have a good idea and you struggle to come up with something that you think would work.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of pressure that we put out on ourselves, like
unnecessarily.
Unnecessary pressure because we don't feel our ideas are as good as, I guess, what we're used to seeing or the quality. And especially that comes back to imposter syndrome and maybe comparison, like comparing yourself to someone else. And then you think of an idea and you're like, that's shit compared to them. So maybe don't compare yourself to anyone else.
Yeah, it's hard.
With your ideas?
That's the negative thing about social media. I think social media's got so many positives. I love it. But when you're scrolling and you see all these people doing all this epic shit, and like you've just got all these little ideas, it makes you feel like
a lot of it's
your
fake.
Ideas aren't good enough.
A lot of it is like what's that? I can't remember the terminology. Living for socials, everything's high. Like you're only showing the highs, no lows. It's all fake anyway. But
you're only seeing the highlight reel.
Yeah, you don't get to see the pulling over in the rain and getting the tickets and the court dates. You don't get to see those low parts of people's lives.
I think the purpose of this episode is getting you through this.
I need to get through this.
Getting you over the trauma that you had this morning.
But that he was so nice. Like I've dealt with cops a lot, especially in my younger years, and a lot of them are assholes. But he was really nice, and he could have been really bad. Anyway, moving on. Where do you get a lot of your ideas from or inspiration?
All the time. I come up with so many ideas throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I want to try and I've tried to narrow it down to different ways to get ideas. I think firstly that what I try to do, little ideas pop up in my head all day.
Yeah.
When I'm going to sleep, when I'm doing other chores. So my first thing is always to write down. I write down everything.
Yeah.
I have books.
That's a good
books
tip.
and books because
get a notebook and a pen.
Yep.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, because we can all come up with millions of ideas, but then when it comes time to shoot or when it comes time to needing those ideas, they're not always readily available.
Yeah.
So being able to write it down, get it out of your head and on a piece of paper is always good because then you've got something to refer to. You can't rely on remembering ideas. There's so many times something will spark in my mind, but I'm busy editing a video or doing something else. If I don't write it down, I can't rely on myself to just remember it when I need it. So I write everything down, everything. Even if you don't use it, it's always good to refer back to it whenever you are stuck. So that would be my first rule.
Do you think there's a difference between writing something down with, say, like a pen and paper versus just typing it on your phone or computer? Do you feel a disconnect or?
I like writing things down with a piece of paper. I don't know why. Maybe
I love that tactile feel, and it
feels great.
It feels like you're actually doing something. I feel like there's a disconnect when you're typing and you just look, because we're looking in front of screens all the time. I don't know, but it's just like
it's not the same.
I get tired, and you can see in my eyes, like we look at screens probably at least eight or 9 hours
Too
every day
much.
editing sort of thing, and then later on for whatever. But yeah. I'm talking about watching movies and stuff. YouTube, like not, I don't know. Anyway, that was an interesting outburst. But yeah, I feel like there is a disconnect when you're not writing down with a pen and paper. It's like it's the feeling of the paper, it's the feeling of the pen in your hand, and you get immersed in that world and writing down. And I feel like it's a much more visceral feeling than just sitting down typing, for me anyway. So I think if you can, just get a notebook or get some paper or have something somewhere where you can write it all down or write your thoughts down as they come to you, because it's completely different. Because as you know, right, you go through Instagram, you scroll, you save something, you put it in the save folder, you never see it again.
Times? I was telling you, I had a friend who was showing me a video, and she saved it, and she goes, "You and I both know I'm never going to see this again."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, admitting it while she was saving it, and I'm like, "That's so true. I do it all the time."
But even on my notes app, like I'll have everything, but unless I'm putting down a thought or recalling, going through and trying to get like someone's number or something that I've written down, I forget about it and it's gone. Whereas like I carry that notebook in my bag all the time. So as soon as I open it, I see, the notebook, and then I flick through it, and then like keeping those memories and ideas alive sort of thing.
Same. But I guess that's like, just do whatever works best for you. For us, obviously that works for us. I've seen some people.
Because we have ADD.
Yeah, but there are really good apps out. Have you used Notion? If you learn how to use Notion properly, you can create folders and subfolders. And if you're that type of person that really likes to organize and arrange things properly, you can. That app is epic. When I've seen people use it properly, I'm like, holy shit. You can, if you're that type of person that needs everything organized, as long as you get it out of your head and it's written down somewhere where you can refer to it easily. Write it down.
I think that's a good thing you just said. So if you can get the ideas out of your head, get them from like the ethereal down to the physical, and get them out of your head to create more space for more ideas. True. That's a really good point as well, because what was I'm trying to think of? It's like you'll have, if it's a good idea, it will stick around. So it'll last like maybe a few days, couple of weeks maybe, but then another idea will come in. So if you can write that down as soon as you have that idea, it's good. And this is what I usually do. If I have an idea, sometimes, and it's for like a video or whatever, or a client's video or something, I'll give it 2 days. And if I am still thinking about it in 2 days, I know it's a good idea. So then I'll write it down and I'll be like, okay, we need to action this. We need to put this out there into the world. But sometimes I'll have an idea and then it'll be gone. Like the next day, it's just gone and I can't remember it. And I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't a good idea. Sometimes I think the advice is like, sometimes the good ideas will stick with you. There's ideas that I've been sitting on for years that I really want to do, and still haven't needed to write them down, just because in my mind they're pretty epic and they're good. But that's just me. Yep.
But also just actioning ideas. Like sometimes you just got to bring it
action
to life.
It's hard, especially if you're alone. Oh, but we did a video about that, like shooting alone, and how hard it is to get your ideas from pen to paper to action to publish. If you're a solo shooter, it can be quite hard, but it's definitely worth it. And you got to get out of your comfort zone. Anyway.
Yep. No, but you just have to, especially when you're starting out. It's still a thing now, but just starting. Like a lot of people wait for the perfect idea and it needs to be amazing. But usually if you just start, more ideas start to flow on from that. So even if it's a shit idea, or like you don't think it's the most amazing idea you've ever had, just by starting, like just picking up your camera and starting to shoot, you get into flow and bigger and better ideas start to grow off of that. And then especially when you're starting, as you get more experienced, you're like, okay, this is a good, like you're in a place now where you're like, okay, I know this is a good idea. I know this idea has legs and I can do more with it. But when you're just starting, you don't know. A lot of the times you might think you have a great idea and then you shoot it and it doesn't turn out anywhere near as good as what you had in your head. Whereas a lot of times you could start with a basic idea and turn it into something bigger once you start shooting. And yeah, when you're starting out, just shoot.
Yeah, shoot lots, shoot everything. Don't be... we have digital cameras. This is the digital age. You can shoot for hours, days, like nothing is getting deleted if you don't want to. Like it's not the days of film anymore where you have to be selective. You can just shoot everything and then in the edit find what works. Probably not the best way to do it. But
when you're beginning,
you're beginning, yeah, just shoot lots.
Go.
Just shoot as much as you can. And find out what works, yeah.
Yeah, I told people all the time when I began, if it sucks, we can just delete it. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, true. It's not a big deal.
It's really not a big deal. And you're doing something you enjoy and you learn from all of those bad ideas.
Yes, bad ideas are the best.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when you start out, all the shoots I did at the beginning, we'd have ideas that we'd want to do. And at the end of the shoot, looking back at our shots, our favorite ones were never the ideas that we went in with. Never. Like we would start shooting and as we went on, we'd just try new ideas, and it kind of just carried on. It's like, oh, actually do this. Oh, look, there's something over there. And you just grow and you try many, many, many ideas on top of that initial one that you went in for. And most times it's something that you least expected that turns out to be your best shot that you never would have got if you didn't just execute in the first place. If you didn't just go out and shoot with your mate. So many times.
That's the thing too, though. You have to have mates.
Not always. Not always.
No, it's definitely a good idea.
What did you post this week?
Oh yeah, I posted something that I shot alone. Like, so yeah, you don't need mates. That's true.
And it was great.
Yeah, it worked out well. I was very, very happy with it. It's a good start.
And it goes to show that you can have an idea and just go off on your own and shoot it. There's no reason why you can't.
That's the thing. Like, as we were saying, there's no bad ideas when you're first starting out. As long as you take action on them, go and shoot them and publish it. Because that's what I was scared about. I was like, it's, people aren't going to understand it, or I didn't shoot it as well as I could have, or blah, 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 whatever. And then once I hit publish and I got lots of feedback and constructive criticism, I was like, yep, okay, cool, that's good. So next time I do it, I'm going to shoot it better or differently, or I'm going to make some changes. So it will be epic, or it will be awesome, or I'll be much more proud of the end result. But yeah, you like, if you have an idea, shoot it, publish it, and just put it out into the world. It's no good keeping your ideas to yourself because nothing ever comes from them. You're not going to get better as a creator. And if you do want to get paid work, you're not going to get work because all your ideas are in your head and you have nothing to show for it. So it's not good like keeping them to yourself. You've got to share your ideas, and that's how you get better.
Totally.
Yeah. It can't just be internalized. Yeah, you got to share it. Do you ever think you have got shit ideas?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. And
what do you think's your shittest idea? What was your shittest idea?
I don't know if I've had a shittest idea.
Yeah.
I just know that a lot of my ideas may not be as good as I thought they were. And I try my best to get the people around me to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the more, so when I sit down with people, I'm like, I want feedback.
Yeah.
I have many ideas. Like I have millions. So if I give you an idea and you think it's terrible, can you please tell me? Like if you're a good friend, just tell me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times you think it's amazing and it's not.
Yeah, that's true. So many times.
Yeah. So a lot of the times you don't know. You may think you have a great idea and it's not. And other times you may think an idea is average. And once you start building on it, it could turn into something amazing.
Can turn into a really good idea and a really good end product.
Exactly. So I think going out and just shooting is great, and just having no rules, because it allows you to try new things, and that can lead to something great. But at the same time, there's also benefit in creating rules and putting yourself in a bit of a box, and it forces you to be a lot more creative than you usually would.
Yeah.
Like when there's no rules, it's easy to get lost in the world that you're in. But if you set rules, it then forces you to kind of think outside the box a little. Like when you made that video, the basketball video, it was like no one's allowed. I was there and I wasn't allowed to help you. So then you're like, shit, how do I do this? So doing these challenges are really good because they help you become a lot more creative than you usually would otherwise. So maybe, and there's tons, I've seen so many. I've seen a video where you could only shoot a particular color. So you had to go around and make a video only shooting something that's orange. And again, that would force you to then be creative and look for certain things. Like what we did the other day. The challenge is you can only shoot by yourself. Like there's so many ways that you could just create limitations that force you to be more creative than you usually would. Yeah. And that sparks good ideas as well.
Yeah, there's so many different good ideas about like, as you say, those challenges will make you a better creator, like photographer, videographer, whatever. So if you can adhere to those rules, you'll be amazed at how creative you'll get if you're put in that box, because you'll have to start thinking outside the box. Like it's crazy.
It's weird because it sounds
counterintuitive, but it's like, if you make some rules and stick to them, all of a sudden you have all this amazing stuff because you didn't have to think about it. You're just I can do whatever I want. But it was a challenging shoot and it was really good. Like we got some good shots out of it. So yours, I'm still yet to see your shoe one.
I know, man.
But we've been busy, so yeah. But also the challenge is sharing the work.
True.
And sharing your ideas. And it can be scary sharing.
Some people are scared to share ideas, man. It's crazy. Like someone's going to steal my idea. I think that's terrible.
I think stealing ideas is good.
Yeah, so do I.
Because you're not going to be able to emulate anything I shoot on a one-to-one and vice versa.
Ever.
And like, so to use our favorite creator, Matty Hapoya again, anything he shoots, I could try for days to shoot everything exactly like him, frame by frame. And I could get pretty close, but because I'm not him and I don't think like him, it would look like completely different. So I think you should steal ideas off your favorite creators and go out and shoot them and emulate like those ideas, because your personality is going to come through and the way you shoot, it's completely different. So I think you should steal, and it will help you get better.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid to steal.
And I think a lot of people don't do it, which is weird. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I can't make that because I already saw someone make a video about that." And I'm like, of course you can. There's no reason why you can't. Like, you can make the exact same video that you've seen someone else make. If you tell it from your own perspective and your own story and your voice, it makes it completely unique.
Yeah, it's a completely different video.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to remember is there are no new ideas. Everything under the sun has been done millions and millions of times. Like, just look at Hollywood. The only thing that they can make is either like remakes,
superhero movies,
sequels. Like, there are no new ideas. And every time you see an original movie or whatever, it tanks and it gets no views or whatever. So it's like, there are no new ideas. Just go out and recreate stuff that you like. Put your own spin on it.
Exactly. A video could have been made a million times, but never by you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it different, especially with everything. If you put your perspective on it, people want to know your perspective. I want to know what you think about coffee. Like, I just want to know your perspective. And just because I can watch a million other videos of people talking about their perspective on coffee, I want yours, right? So it's like, there's no reason why you can't make a video on anything. And I know the fear. The thing is, I can relate.
It is fear.
I love landscape photography, so I don't want to shit on it.
Do you?
I love watching it.
Yeah.
Right?
I've never seen you shoot a landscape.
I hate shooting it.
Yeah, right.
So personally, I hate shooting landscape.
What do you hate about it?
Because I feel every time I go, so I'm gonna say I wake up for a sunrise and I go to a spot that looks amazing, I feel like anyone can come here, stand here, and take this exact same shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm just like, anyone can do this. It doesn't feel special to me.
Yeah, okay.
Even though I love watching other people do it. Every time I see someone put up a landscape shot or a video, I'm like, this is sick. But when I'm there, I personally just don't like shooting it because I feel like literally anyone can come here, stand in this spot and do it. Like, how many times can you see the pool at icebergs? I think I've seen it a million times. So when I'm there, as much as I want to shoot
new challenge.
I just don't want to do it.
That's a new challenge. Well, okay. So our next video challenge will be to shoot icebergs pool different.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, how I would make it different, right?
You
like
tell.
in terms of, I could be there and it would look exactly the same. So I don't want to tell that story. I don't want to take a picture or a drone shot of fucking icebergs or whatever the hell I'm looking at because a million people have done it.
Yeah.
What makes that experience unique to me is the story of that day. No one like that. You can never repeat that day.
Yeah.
So if I went there, I would rather tell the story of, I hate waking up in the morning. So it could be like, man, like I had to wake up early. I hate this shit, but I'm going to do it because of where I want to get to. It's the people that I shared it with, the experience of being there, how I felt being there, maybe what we did after the shoot. Like all those things are unique to me. And I would rather tell that story. And then I've told the story of me going to icebergs. However, it's unique to me.
Yeah.
And no one can imitate that. No one can replicate that. So you can do anything if you tell it from your perspective and tell your story and your experience of it, because no one's lived that day. No one's lived your day today except for you. And you will never live today ever again. So you can tell that story and no one will have that day. You can tell that story and no one can replicate it ever. And tell the story, tell the experience, and no idea will ever feel like it's been taken before.
Yeah. It's good. That's
I
really
still
good
love
advice.
landscape photography though. I love people that do it.
You can be honest. If you hate it, just say you hate it.
I love people that do it. I'd hate taking it.
What's your
because of that? I think
what's your idea of an average landscape photographer? What do they look like in your head?
An average landscape photographer.
Yeah, when you picture a landscape, so someone comes up to you, you say, "Oh, what do you do?" You know, I'm a landscape photographer. What comes to mind?
I don't think poorly of them.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
okay. I was just like,
No,
oh.
I think they're great.
Yeah.
There's a few. I follow a few, man.
You do it to relax, right?
To relax?
You
I
put
don't
on
know.
their videos or whatever, and they've
Nah,
usually got a
man,
soft,
when people do
soothing
like
voice.
an epic sunrise or sunset, and you see the colors, and they just make it bang. Paul, I've got a guy, Paul Ellison. I'm meeting him next week. He's really, really good.
Yeah.
He does Bronte. He's got the whole app that I don't know how it's pretty accurate,
Like
but
with
he
the
says
sunrise or whatever?
yeah, that tells you when you're going to get like an
okay.
epic sun. And he posted on his stories. He's like, guys, tomorrow morning's the day. Everyone wake up. Like he makes announcements, which is really cool. Like he loves it. And man, you can tell from his work.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really good. And I'm like, dude, no, like he studied it and you can tell he's got a passion for it.
Yeah. That's the thing too. Like that passion
gonna
comes
love it.
through your work. Like when you really, really love something, it will show.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good to find your passion.
You got to find what you love. And that comes from trying ideas. I went out, I did it. I'm like, okay, cool. This isn't for me.
What lens did you use when you did landscape?
I've been out a few times, heaps. Was it with, I didn't go out with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cheating on me already.
Nah, there's been a few times where like other creators.
A few times.
You do it too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
How many times you're like, I'm
We're
waking
not
up for
exclusive.
sunrise.
Yeah, because I know you don't like getting up. So I'm just like,
I'll do a sunset. Hit me with a sunset.
Yeah, but then that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, we live in
this is a segue, but that's the hardest thing with Sydney. You can't really get.
We live on the wrong side of the country.
You can't really get good sunsets. You get maybe, I don't know.
We need to move to Perth.
Sunrise for sure, but sunsets, Perth.
I'm happy to miss
Beautiful.
them. I'll sacrifice them.
Yeah.
I was up early this morning, but
Yeah, that's true.
they rarely
6 a.m.
happen. If you see me outside
It's a miracle.
before 7,
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. You can be pretty sure of that.
Yeah. The last couple of months have been.
But I know what I like and what I don't like. You try shit, it's not for you. You don't do it, man. But you don't know until you try.
Yeah, that's true. How long do you give it before you're like beating a dead horse sort of thing? You try that idea, it doesn't work once. How many more times do you try
A few times, because sometimes it could be something completely different. It could have been like the people you were with at the time, or especially when you're shooting outside landscape, it could have just been bad weather. You were cold, you didn't get enough sleep. Like there's so many other variables that come to like when a shoot doesn't go to plan. There's so much that goes into it. You can't bank it all on just one bad shoot, or like the shots didn't turn out the way you wanted. That's not always the case. So a few times, but when you know, you know. Yeah,
that's true. You've got to be really good at creative problem solving, because as you say, the weather could be crap, but I'm out here doing landscapes or whatever. Okay, what can I do, or what can I shoot with this shit weather? Like, how am I going to make this day worth it? Because I'm never going to get this day again.
Yes.
As you say, like once yesterday's gone, it's gone.
Yep.
So spend the time wisely. All right, cool. I'm going to shoot something else.
Do you know how many times that happens though, man? Like you go for one idea. You might go to get like an epic sunrise, and you wake up in the morning, you're pumped for it, you get there and there's just fucking clouds everywhere and you don't see shit.
Yeah.
And like you can have a sook and be like, oh, I didn't get my shot. Or you can try and make something of it. And a lot of the times you can make good shit when things go sour. Like you can just start all right, you're really good at this, but it's like, what can I do with the situation that I'm in?
Yeah.
And it's like encourage you to try to tell a story in a way that you usually wouldn't.
That pretty much comes from weddings too. Yeah. It's like weddings never go to plan.
Exactly.
So you're always creative. Like you always have to fix a problem. So it's like always thinking on your feet. But one of my friends, sorry, this is what I was going to say. So make the day count, because you don't get that time again. One of my friends, Ryan, he just does landscape photography. He's fully into it. He shoots on Leica, Fujifilm, all that stuff. He just loves his landscapes. He's got a small kid at home and wife and everything. And so he only gets the weekends to shoot. So he is out every weekend around the Blue Mountains and everything, rain, hail or shine, and he's making the most of his time because he doesn't get it again. He can only shoot pretty much on Saturdays or Sundays. So he's on a train for like 2 hours out to the Blue Mountains, goes and shoots or whatever, and then comes back, edits or whatever. He makes the most of his time. Yeah. So he's a great... he inspires me a lot with how he uses his time. That's so because he doesn't get much throughout the week.
Yep.
If at all.
That's so true. And that's just that instance. Imagine I think this every time I'm at a shoot. So much work gets put into organizing a shoot.
Yeah.
Like you're organizing a location scouting, all the references, the mood boards, organizing people to all turn up at the same time. And then if you get there and things go wrong, like it's hard to organize, and you have to appreciate that you don't get those moments often. How many times it's like, we've got 2 hours here to make something cool, and we can all have a cry because fucking the lights don't work or something went wrong. Or you can be like, guys, we've got 2 hours. Like, this is exciting.
Let's make the most of it, yeah.
Especially the amount
Endless
of times when we're by ourselves, I'm like, oh, I've got no one to shoot with. And I'm struggling with ideas. You've got these people here, you've got this moment, you got to really try and make the most of it. And it's just being in that mindset. It's like these occasions don't happen often. I often don't have all these people here that are willing and open, like wanting to be creative.
Yeah. It's always awesome when that happens.
It's appreciate the moment, especially those shoots, especially when you've taken all this time to organize something.
When it's come out of the group chat and it's now a reality.
Yeah, man. Like, it's hard. How many ideas you said get stuck in your head and they never come to reality, and you've actually been given the opportunity to try and make it. And even though it didn't come out as perfectly as you had in your mind, you still have this chance to create something.
Yeah. Sometimes I have seen that. It's like one thing will go wrong where, say, your strobes aren't working or the lighting's not right, or it starts to rain, or it's usually just one thing. And then for whatever reason,
when the mood dies,
it just comes crashing down.
Yeah.
So there are ways to like change your mindset about that, or like to keep it high energy. Mainly music, food. It obviously depends if you're doing like a shoot with lots of people or whatever, but yeah, as you say, it's spent so long as just an idea and now it's a reality, and you're going to let one little thing or whatever like stop the mood. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Just shoot it.
And something going that you brought to my attention when you said you've got that mate who always shoots landscape. I think
Rain, hail, or shine.
Yeah.
Like I have seen him out there when I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago when it was bucketing down. Like it was coming down. Everything was flooded, especially around Surrey. And he was out there because like that to him is his escape, and he gets to use all his ideas. He gets to make them a reality, and he just loves shooting. And so like it doesn't matter what kind of weather it is. He's not like nothing's stopping him. He's out there and he's shooting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that.
We should all be like that.
True.
If this is your passion.
Yep. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I also think you shouldn't get yourself caught up in just because something works, you shouldn't get stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like a lot of improvement, especially in our industry, comes from trying new things. It's from trying things that you don't usually do. How do you improve? Like there's a lot of people like, oh, wow, this landscape looks sick. I'm going to shoot it over and over and I'm going to slap the same preset over the top of it because it looks sick. But if that's all you do, you're going to stay there and you're not going to improve.
Yeah, stagnation.
Like, and a lot of improvement comes from trying new things. All right, I'm not going to keep using this same color grade. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try black and white. I'm going to go out to a completely different environment and trying to create something that I don't usually do to try and get better at something outside of what I do over and over and over again. And I know some people want to niche and shit, but when I see there are some people that shoot the exact same thing. I'm like, how many times am I going to see? I know it looks cool, but once I've seen it 100 times.
Have you seen the... Sorry,
What?
this is another segue. Remember when the egg on Instagram was like a huge thing?
Yeah, it had the
It was
most
just a picture
likes
of the
ever.
egg or something?
Yeah, people...
Did it keep getting posted or was
No,
it just
like
one
the most,
picture?
It was the most liked post on Instagram for
Yeah,
a really,
right.
really long time.
Yeah.
And it was just an egg.
It was
I
just
think
a
people
picture
just
of an
thought
egg.
it was funny.
Meme stuff. I think, you only get better by failing, trying new things. And then that comes from having new ideas and actioning them. So, yeah, just
Try new
things. That's a good takeaway from that.
Yep. And I also think sometimes an area where I've failed in is I'll have what I think is a really good idea or certain shots that I really want to shoot. Like I know these shots are going to be so good. I can't wait to shoot them. And like I make video, so I guess it's probably different compared to photography, but with video, and I'll get those shots that I really want and I nailed them and I'm so happy about it, but I haven't thought the idea all the way through. So I've just got these 3 really cool clips that I wanted to try.
Yeah.
And then there's no ending. Like I haven't thought the idea all the way through. I just wanted this really cool thing, like this one thing, or I wanted to do it to a really cool song. Like I've only thought of one part of the idea and then when I go to edit it, the rest is just shit because I didn't plan for it. So whenever I'm shooting, whenever I get my good shots, I always feel like I need to have a good ending. So I'm always like, how do I finish this? I came here, did what I had to do, but I'm looking at it, there's no ending. I didn't think of that. And it's like, at least have a good ending or think of the other parts of your idea to start to piece it all together. Because otherwise it crashes. Like your idea, it's not as good as you wanted it to be in the end. Like the end result isn't as good because there's only like a couple good clips or a really cool song, but it doesn't reward the viewer because there's no reward at the end of it. And I think that happens a lot, not just in our industry. I think in like music too, bro. Like the amount of songs that I think TikTok's ruined music.
Here we go.
But it has.
Here comes the tea.
Tell me that you have. Have you ever?
Waiter, we'll have 2 cups right here. Thank you. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
But this is the same thing. Have you ever heard or got put onto a song on TikTok or Instagram? Then you go to listen to the song, and the rest of the song's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It happened, and it's like
What do you call it?
Just
Hooks
or
something? I can't remember.
fucking bait. I don't know
It's
what
like
it is.
15 seconds of the song is the hook or something.
And it's like that's
then
all
the
they're
rest
trying
is
to
shit?
do now.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just trying to come up with these cool 10 seconds that they think's going to go viral, and then they just quit on the rest of the song. And
Well,
I
they
love
sound
music.
completely different.
They do. I love
what's
music
that,
so much, and it just ruins it.
What's that song? It's pretty recent. It's like I want you, I need you. Oh, stop, like that one. Like
There's a ton
please,
of them.
don't stay. I want you, I need you. That one.
Oh, yeah.
that
And then
one.
it builds up.
It builds
real
up,
high.
and he screams or
Yep.
whatever. But like before and after, it's to me it sounds like a completely different song.
Yeah.
But they have that like 10 second
It's so
hook,
true.
and it's like, yeah. So music, maybe to the detriment. Oh well, I guess it's just the music we're listening to. I listen to a lot of K-pop, so it's different.
Yeah, but a lot of us get put onto music now because of
TikTok
social
and
media.
Instagram. Yeah.
And I think, yeah,
So
that was
coming back
sad.
to your point before,
Yep.
do you think
You need to
you're
think an idea all the way through.
You're essentially saying that pre-production and storyboarding an idea is very important, just so that you get all your shots.
Yeah,
You're not just
piecing
focusing
it all
on hero
together.
shots. Yeah. How do you go about that? Do you have any apps or anything that you use to implement that? You were talking about Notion before, which segue, Notion is the sponsor of today's podcast.
One day, mate.
One day. Notion? Is it Notion or I'm thinking of Motion Array?
Oh, yeah, we use that
yeah,
too.
we use a lot actually.
Motion Array is really
We should really reach out to some of these companies in a little bit of time.
That-
What do we got? Motion Array. We've got Epidemic Sound. We've got Adobe. Oh, terrible. Anyway, sorry. Segue. Back to pre-production, post-production. Do you think you can save it in the edit?
I think you
It's a
can.
real question. So, it's fine. We'll save it in the edit. Or no, it's fine. I can just Photoshop that or blah, whatever.
I'd rather that. I think a really good editor can save terrible shots.
Yep.
You don't want to rely on it,
Yeah.
but whereas like a really bad editor, you can give him the best footage ever and he could just ruin it.
Yeah, it'll turn out shit.
So if I had to pick one, I'd go with the better editor than the better shooter, if that's what you're trying to ask me.
Oh, I was just, wanted your opinion on that, but it's probably better just to shoot everything well.
Just plan it out.
Plan it out, yeah. In the first.
Especially if you feel you're onto something good. You're like, oh man, this is a good idea. This is going to be a great shot.
Yeah.
I listened to an interview from John Mayer. He was talking about this exact same thing in relation to music. And he said, it's like taking someone on a trip for hours. And then just before you get to Disneyland, you kick them out of the car.
Yeah, right. That's exactly how I feel with some of these songs.
Yeah.
Where it's like you hear the Disneyland theme or whatever, but then you get kicked out whatever boulevard it is in Anaheim. Anyway.
Before you get there.
That's a good analogy.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And a lot with creatives. Yeah. Is there anyone that you bounce ideas off apart from me? Do you have like a community or a group? Because I've spoken to a few people and I think one of the hardest things is because we know a lot of other solo creatives who have their own businesses or are their own have their own agencies or whatever, and they shoot and work for themselves, so they're doing everything, but they don't have a lot of time to bounce ideas off other creatives. Do you have another group or some other people that you bounce ideas off, or is it just all on your shoulders?
It's all on me, and it's a bad advice. Bad advice. I've tried in the past, and the thing is, I get too. I hate to say, because I don't want to say I'm too busy, but I get too caught up doing work, and I'm in my own world, and it's something that I'm trying to improve on. Is having those people and being in those circles where you can get that feedback
And collaborate more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's great having you around.
Yeah.
But you need to do more of it. I have in the past. I've created little groups and tried to share ideas, and then you don't even realize how quick time goes. And you're like, man, I haven't reached out to those guys.
It's tough, man. Like people aren't selfish. People are just busy. Like, and that's the thing. That's another thing. When you post your ideas, don't worry if people don't like them, because chances are they probably don't, or they don't even think about it, because we all have busy lives and we're all living our own story. So it's like, don't get upset if you're not getting the feedback that you want. Once you start posting, or once you start sharing good ideas and good stuff, you'll know, because you'll get more engagement. There was this question. This guy was questioning the founder of Instagram, or not the founder, the creative director of Instagram or whatever. And he's like, oh, how do I go viral or whatever? And I think one of his good words of wisdom was if you're posting good content or if you're posting good ideas, you will get good engagement. If you're just posting shit like, I don't know, selfies or, stuff that doesn't have much of a story, you probably won't get that engagement and you won't get that good feedback. So you'll know when your ideas are good and you'll know when your ideas are bad. Trust me, you'll know. Because I've had both, and some have worked really, really well and some have been absolutely shit. And I've been like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, but I think it's also knowing your audience. Like, you don't need all the engagement in the world, just
True.
as much as you don't need the biggest following in the world to be influential in a certain topic.
That's true.
Right? There's a lot of people that think, oh, I don't have a big following, so I'm not qualified to talk about what I'm talking about. And I don't think that's true at all. The same way that someone with a big following a lot of times doesn't have the qualifications to talk about the shit they're talking about either. Like,
it's weird how we've let this like arbitrary number dictate our lives to a certain extent.
And a lot of people feel like they can't talk about certain things because they don't have a following. But man, it's not true. It's not true. To think of, especially we come from the fitness world. Like, would you rather, if you were to get nutrition advice, would you rather have it from some shredded dude that has 1 million followers, or a girl that like got a following from looking pretty and dancing on TikTok, or from or would you get it from a dietitian who has a couple hundred followers, like a registered dietitian who actually knows her shit, spent her whole life studying rather than dancing in front of her phone?
But that's an interesting point that you bring up. The crazy thing is that a lot of people will go for the
person with a big following
because that's perceived value. That number is now an indicator of, they must know what they're talking about because
everyone's
following them. But chances are it's just because they're attractive or they've got like a ripped body or whatever. And
the algorithm
pushes it. But, drugs will do a lot. Anyway, I would go personally for the dietitian because they've spent, 4 years or whatever getting their degree. They know their stuff. And they've got the science to back it up, as opposed to like the fitness influencer. Unless they're also a dietitian, then that's a big conundrum too.
No, but it's true, man. And there are times where, and that's the thing, if you don't have a big following, if you're an expert or if you're qualified to talk about that, talk about it. Even if there are millions of other people talking about it, there's so many people online talking about nutrition, but I want to hear it from the dietitian. I don't care how many followers you have. Like, I want to hear from you.
That's a good point then. So, you have a photographer who's got like 500 followers. His stuff is really good and he's got a preset pack or whatever, or an editing video that you can buy, versus say someone with 1 million followers also got the same preset pack or whatever and video editing video that you can buy. Who are you going for? Because I feel like, and this is probably going to ruffle some feathers, I'm probably never going to meet them. And like, I know, and again, I'm going to preface this with saying, like, my stuff is shit. I know that my stuff is shit. It can always get better. But like North Borders, 7th Era, they sell their presets. And it's like, I don't know, but their presets just make your stuff look worse. I would suggest that you don't buy presets. I would say that you play with the S-curve and, just play with presets are a good baseline, but don't rely on them. I've seen, and these people who I know will remain unnamed, but they are using certain types of presets and I can tell, and it's like, your stuff just looks shit or muddy, or you've ruined this photo by just slapping on this crappy preset. Anyway, rant over. What were you talking about?
No, but that's right. No, in terms of just challenging yourself to learn new things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's scary. Like, say you do use a preset and it makes your photo look way better than anything you could do on your own.
Yeah.
And then you post that, and then you're scared to then manually color anything because you don't think it's going to match that. So then you just keep slapping that same preset, but it's cool, but it doesn't make you any better. So you got to just challenge yourself to try new things and new ideas. This is what I was trying to get at before, because it forces you to get better in the long term.
Do you think that you should stay? Do you think it's better to stay consistent early on with, say, your ideas? Like with say if you wanted to be a street shooter or whatever, do you think it's better to stay consistent just shooting street, or especially with social media, do you branch out and shoot cars and stuff as well, or models, or does it matter what you shoot anymore?
No, unless we spoke about this in an earlier episode. If you're doing it for work, you'll probably start getting work for whatever you're posting. So I would just avoid the things that you don't want to get work for. In
a personal way, posting just for yourself, I think I've seen a switch in the last 2 years where, and I won't say his name, but he posted majority of like model stuff, and then started posting weddings, events, car, like anything that he shot, he just started to post. And so there was I remember there was a time where you did have to niche down on Instagram, and you could only just show what you shot. So if you were travel, you were the travel guy. If you were the car guy, you're the car guy. You're stuck in that routine. And I think these people were trapped by this system, Instagram, social media especially. So then their ideas, they couldn't shoot anything else, and they just got lost. Just like how my thought process just got lost just then.
Yeah, no, people feel like they're stuck.
Yeah,
shooting that thing because they think that that's what people know them for.
Yeah, which is sad. You stop shooting for yourself. Who else do you steal from?
Balance. Everyone. Like I just love watching content. I love watching everyone.
Yeah.
Think people that shoot similar to me, people that shoot completely opposite. Like I just love watching, and you can just take. It doesn't take much to spark an idea.
Yeah.
Like you can watch a video, a 5-minute long video, and they might say just one line, and you're like,
and you'll go off.
Yeah, it just sparks an idea, a perspective. A lot of the times I like perspective. Like something happens, and even in some of like the personal content that I make, it's more just like, this is what I think of this situation. And there are times, it's cool when someone writes a comment and they're like, I've never seen it from that point of view. I think that's cool. I just really like that kind of thing.
Do you ever get bored? Do you think that being bored is a good thing?
Sometimes being bored's a good thing. I don't think I ever get bored though.
I think some of my best ideas come from when I'm doing monotonous tasks or I'm bored. So like long drives, doing the dishes, vacuuming especially, or even just walking. If I'm off Instagram, YouTube, that sort of thing.
That's so
if I have no music, sometimes even when I'm just at the gym, those are the times when I get the most ideas.
Totally.
And write them down, execute them later, but being bored.
There was a time I lived right on the beach for a couple years, and it was so weird. I can't explain it. I don't know why. There'd be so many days I would sit inside the apartment and have nothing. Like nothing would come to me. And I'd want to shoot, but I'd just feel like no ideas were coming in, or I'd be stuck on an edit and not know how to finish it. And I'd go for a walk on the beach. It's not the longest beach. It's like 30 minutes. You could walk from end to end and back. So I'd go on this walk, and almost every time I'd come back with a new idea or with fresh ideas. I don't know why. I could sit in the apartment for hours and nothing would happen. I'd go on this walk. I don't know if it's nature or sun or sand, but almost every time while I'm walking, everything would just come into place in my mind. And then I'd be so excited to come back. There's something, I heard it somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I've heard people say that walking does something to your mind.
Gets the blood flowing.
Or gets your thoughts going.
Creative thoughts.
I don't know what it is,
juices.
but it worked for me. I can't explain it. But I rate that. Get outside, get some air. Even just getting outside. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, getting air.
No, but if you want ideas, do stuff. Like go outside. You did this very well a couple of weeks ago. Like in a week, you went to like a Sony workshop. Then you went to your mate's movie premiere. Like go out and do things,
stuff.
and stories will come just from experiences. I watch a lot of Colin and Samir, and the amount of times they say, if you want art to imitate life, you have to have a life.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of the
So
times
true.
we just sit in our apartments or off, and we just sit behind a computer for hours and hours and hours, and we wonder why we don't have any ideas. Because
Yeah.
we don't have a life, man. It's true. So like you have to make time to get outside and do things. It's like if you're not getting ideas, ideas come when you live your life.
You have to almost think of it like having a relationship. Like you treat your ideas or like the end goal as a relationship. You have to go out and date your ideas. So go out and live life. Maybe go, again, probably not be scared about doing it alone. Like this might just be me, but like, so I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine alone.
Oh, cool.
It was
I've
pretty
never been
good.
to the movies alone.
Terribly written, but like there was lots of fan service and stuff. Loved it. Went to my mate's movie premiere alone. Like I do a lot alone because I'm not scared to be alone, and that's where I get a lot of ideas about. And then that's how you meet people, right? And that's how you also meet some pretty good ideas sometimes.
Have you always been that way, or was there a time where you had to like do something alone for the first time, like go out and do things?
No, one of my like favorite memories was back when I was at uni in Armidale, and none of my mates could go out because they were all studying or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go out by myself. So I just went out to the Kilda, met like a heap of different people. They were from Robb College, I think. And yeah, got drunk with them, went to another group of people. Like if you're...
That's hard to do, though.
It is
A lot of
hard.
people
If you're
struggle with that.
extroverted, it's better. Probably you can't do it if you're introverted. But it's just the same. Like if you have a really good energy and if you're happy, you can meet anyone, and it's called rejection therapy. I was just talking about it with you like last week. If you just go up to someone and if you're nice to them, chances are you're going to get a good response. So you could use that with business. You could go and approach like a cafe and say, hey, I'm trying to get my portfolio up. Can I shoot for you guys or whatever? Chances are they're going to say yes. What's the worst they can say? No. So it's like, fine, just keep doing it until you get the right result. But yeah, doing stuff alone is fine. I think it's a really handy skill to have, and that way you won't be scared to shoot by yourself, come up with ideas by yourself, post stuff, all that sort of stuff. Like it all goes hand in hand, and you'll be a well-adjusted human if you can do that.
Yep.
But yeah, I will admit it is hard, but I'm pretty comfortable talking to anyone or just going up to anyone random. Like it's, yeah.
But it's because you've done it so many times now, though, right?
Yeah, it's just reps, right? But it also helps with like doing event work and whatever. You need to, as like a photographer especially, you need to get natural reactions from people or get candid reactions from people. So setting people at ease or setting people's minds at ease is a really important skill. So making sure people are comfortable with you, being able to go up to anyone and start a conversation, learn their name, that sort of thing. Like people skills are big, especially for businesses and whatnot. But yeah, it is a good skill.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Be alone.
Yeah, totally.
Don't be a loner, be alone. That's a good...
Wow.
I'll use that quote.
Wow.
I should get a T-shirt made or something. Don't be a loner, be alone.
What a gem.
Where? Date yourself. Don't date the
Wow.
rest. I don't know. I've lost it. Man, this is almost like my rap career.
Another way that I think, especially businesses, like we help creators that are starting out, but I think businesses that struggle with their creative side of their business, a lot of them struggle with ideas on like, what do I post? What should I do? And going back to knowing your audience, it's like speak directly to your audience. When you're living in a world, there's so many times in so many industries, you take what you know for granted because you just think everyone should know that.
Yeah.
But if you know your audience, a lot of the time they don't live in your world and they don't know so many of the things that you know as just common sense. So when we shoot, every time I shoot with any type of business, I figure out who their audience is, and then I try to put myself in that mindset. Like I try to pretend I'm a client of theirs, whatever that client is. So if I'm speaking to a gym owner, and that gym owner is like talking in front of camera, if they say something that I know as a client I would not understand, I would ask that question, as in, like, say they're talking about nutrition, they just gloss over supplements. I would be like, what does that mean? Like, why did you say that? Same as when we did some BTS. We were shooting
You're
BTS.
really good at that.
And
Because I don't think about that.
Yeah,
and you're
man.
just like, you ask good questions.
Yeah, I was shooting BTS for you. So you were filming some real estate, and then you just said, I'm just going to switch lenses. And I was like, why did you switch lens, Quinn?
And I was like, you know why? What are you asking me these questions for?
But in my mind, I'm like, we're creating content for the guy that's just starting out, and they won't know why you switch lens.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
I
when you know your audience, you can come up with so many ideas because your audience doesn't know that. And there's so much that you know that your audience doesn't know. And that all straight away creates a bunch of content ideas that you can create videos around. You take it as, we should all know that.
Yeah.
But the guy that's just starting out, the business that's just starting out, that's just bought his camera and doesn't know what lens to get, that's valuable information for them.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
that's for any business.
It's also, I just realized it's a really hard skill to be able to get. So like when I was shooting and you were shooting me sort of thing, I was in the zone and I was focused on getting my shots and whatever. And it's a really hard skill to get out of the zone, talk to camera about what you're doing, and then get back into the zone to get, because like there'll be this thing where, you're getting bangers or like you're like, oh, that was
You're
the
in
shot.
flow.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're in the flow, right? And then to get out of that flow, stop it is, I find especially, is very hard because I'm trying to get into that mindset and work into that flow. That's the whole point of like, you take a couple of first shoots, you never use the first ones. And then you start to get the bangers or whatever. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm in the flow. I know what I'm doing. To get out of that was very confronting. I don't know how people do it. So big props to like all the YouTubers or influencers that do that. Like it's a skill.
Yep. And you brought up a good point there real quick. It takes a little while to get into, and this is with any shoot and with everyone that's in the shoot, it takes a while to get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And your best ideas or your best shots are never going to be the first ones.
No,
very rarely.
Very rarely.
Right? Usually those first 10, 15 minutes, everyone's a little awkward and they're trying to get into, good energy. So like, don't waste your best ideas
At the
very start.
Yeah.
Because they could work, chances are, but from experience, most of the time, those first 10 to 15 minutes, I would just try like random shit.
Yeah.
And then your best shots come somewhere in the middle or somewhere at the end. So if you've got good ideas, save them until everyone's in the mood.
That's especially true if it's a shoot where no one knows each other. Because you're spending, you can, a good tip would be to turn up a little bit early or at least have that first point of call, like a Zoom call, or try to meet someone in person just so that you get comfortable with creating with each other. But yeah, generally it's almost like test shots.
Yep.
You're going in, you're warming up. Everyone's a bit like, who is this guy? Or you're not comfortable with the camera. And that's where your personality will take over. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, that's amazing. Let's go. Oh, that was sick. Really, it was probably like the worst shot you've ever taken. But they don't know that.
Yep.
And then, everyone's going to get better. You set the tone, right? And then, so that's how towards the end of the shoot, you're going to get your best stuff. But that's just been my experience. I mean, if it's all a paid shoot and you've got the set ready and everything, I can't remember who the photographer is, Mark someone. He'll generally only take like 2 to 5 photos because he'll have everything set up. He'll get his models where he wants.
It comes with experience too, though.
Yeah.
The guys that are just starting out,
True.
you really need to know that. And
You got to warm up.
Yep.
If you're starting out, warm up.
And even
test
now,
shots.
bro, not even when you just start. When you're starting out, super important. But even now, man, like, there's no reason why you can't just say, man, these first few shots, we're just, and then like
We're
you
just
get,
testing.
we're just testing.
We want, yeah.
And a lot of the times it is just getting everyone comfortable.
Yeah.
And setting the tone. I thought that was very good.
Yeah, so you're as the person who holds the camera, for the majority of times you're going to set the tone and you're going to set the vibe and you're pretty much you have all the authority. So it's pretty much all up to you. For a lot of shoots, It's all on your shoulders for everything, not just the final product. It can be quite daunting, but it can also be quite fun. If you're good under pressure, you're going to thrive as a photographer and videographer.
Yep.
If you're not, you're probably not.
It's going to take some practice.
Take some practice. Yeah. It can be quite daunting.
Yep.
Any other ideas?
Yes.
Yes, go.
Especially if you're a business owner.
Yes.
But not so, especially if you're a business owner and you're trying to run a business. You're busy running a business. It takes up a lot of time, man. And so content needs to be efficient. A lot of the times the struggle is, how do I efficiently make a ton of content in a short amount of time because I'm time poor and I need to be doing other things? Great way that I've learned to do this.
Delegate.
Podcast.
Hey! Speaking of, I heard that there's this place in Coogee that has a podcast studio that's one of the best in Sydney.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's called Titan Fitness.
Is it available?
It's available. You even get your own producer and editor and all the latest and greatest gear.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
And it's all done for you. Titan Fitness has
yeah.
a podcast studio.
It does.
Run by us. We
Yeah.
shoot, produce, edit. We do everything.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah. And we get a ton of content out of this,
Heaps.
right? We shoot one episode. We get 10
short
plus,
form.
over 10
easy.
videos out of
5
an
to
hour
10
of
minute
conversation.
videos. The full length. There's so much. You can just use. I don't want to say that. I always. You can use so much from the long form. You can cut it down, chop it up.
Yep.
You can get so many good bits. Yeah, it's such a.
I honestly think it's a great idea. If you're a business and you're trying to make a lot of content, but you're time poor, this takes...
Set aside an hour.
Set aside an hour. You don't have to worry about any of the recording. Like, you get high quality content.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about lighting, cameras, audio. You don't have to worry about editing.
Turn up and talk.
That stops a lot of people from making content.
Yeah,
It's like the
they
amount
don't
of
have the gear.
time, the amount of work, the gear, the investment that comes into doing it all. It's just way too overwhelming and they don't do it. Whereas hiring out this studio, all of that gets taken away from you. All you have to do is just walk in, have a guest, do it on your own, have your topics written down. All you have to do is just focus on what you need to talk about or focus on your guest, and the rest all gets taken care of.
We take care of the rest.
And all the content gets sent to your inbox.
You do your best. We take care of the rest.
Ooh, that was good.
That was pretty good.
Oh,
All right.
wow. Okay, he's back.
Where have I seen that before?
He's back. Stolen.
That was an idea that was stolen from I think a 90s ad.
Wow.
Shit, where was that from? Anyway. Yeah, so it is for rent.
Yes.
You can book it out.
You can book it out. We're going to have a website out. So by the time this podcast comes out, there'll be a website
There'll be a
out
website, yeah.
where you can book. We'll have everything ready there so that you can schedule it in. But I highly recommend, or even if it's not here, just sitting down in front of a camera and talking, having a conversation for, put aside half an hour, whatever you're comfortable with. You can get so much content
Yeah.
from just sitting in front of the camera, writing down a variety of topics that you know you can talk about well, and then turning that into short form.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do, and it's the most efficient way to make a lot of content in a short amount of time. Then you don't have to be thinking about all these crazy ideas.
Yeah. It also lets your audience know who you are.
Yep. And another thing, especially if you're a business, if you're trying to be, again, efficient with creating content, just use your phone. There's so many. I use the little DJI Pocket all
Not
the time.
sponsored yet.
Not sponsored yet. But just have your phone and record you don't have to put time aside. Whatever you're doing at work, whether you're on the computer taking calls, just have your phone recording you. And at the end of the week, you're going to have all these clips that you can put together. And if you're not confident in front of speaking in front of the camera, I mean, you could. However, like the trendy thing to do at the moment, which I think is really cool, is just doing a voiceover. You can have all these random clips of your week, but if you put them all together, kind of doesn't make sense if you put random clips together. But if you do a voiceover and put together a story or give
Add
those
context.
clips some context, that becomes an awesome video. Put some text over the top, a week in my life.
Yeah.
It's taken you no extra time other than setting your phone up and pressing play. You go about your business, and then at the end of the week, you just put those clips together. If you're afraid to be in front of the camera, just do a voiceover. Man, voice memos on your phone is
Really
all you
good.
need for a microphone.
Yep.
The quality of that's perfect. Do a voice memo, talk over the top of it. I think you can even do it through the apps now. And you get great content out of that. And it's efficient. You don't have to put any time aside other than putting the clips together at the end of the week and doing a voiceover or just some text now. People are doing text, the POV, day in the life.
Yeah. And you shouldn't be scared that your life isn't exciting because there are so many people out there who have I can't remember what the guy's name is. He's got the most boring life. He just does a 9 to 5. He works Monday to Friday, drinks on the weekends or whatever. But all his content is just him in the office. And I think he just hit like 1 million.
I watch a guy that does the same thing.
He's got a dog. He's like 29 or something.
Yep.
I can't remember his name, but he's blown up.
Yep.
But like, so and the funny thing is he's now in a position where like he could quit his full-time job, but his whole content is based around his full-time job. I think he sells insurance or something.
That's hilarious. I watch a guy that on YouTube he works at Google.
Yeah.
Like in the offices in Atlanta. Fuck, I wish I could remember his name because I feel bad not chatting. But Atlanta Google office, and he just goes about, he's like, I'm having a meeting. And he like shows you around the Google offices, like they give him food, they got kitchens, they got all these little meeting rooms, like little pods that they can just go in and take Zoom calls and shit. I watch it all the time. And he's just...
And you never know where it will take you to.
Man.
Like, do you know Tony P? He's this, I think he's like, the joke is he's a 25-year-old living in whatever city in America, but he's been 25 for like 5 years now or something. But he's worked his way up to being like a news presenter on MSNBC or something.
Wow.
And all he did was just document his life. And his ideas came from seeing other people document their lives, and he saw how far it took them, so he started to do it. So I guess the takeaway from this one about stealing ideas or never running out of ideas is get some ideas and then just start.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yep.
Just do it. Just start.
Yeah, your life is interesting.
Yeah.
Whether
No matter what you do. You could be raising snails and farming them on a lettuce farm, and someone out there, or a vast majority of people out there, will find that interesting.
Back to Casey. That's what I learned from
If
Casey.
you're
and
interested,
Neistat.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
become aware of what you think is interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's interesting, someone else out there might think it's interesting too.
100%.
I got one more.
Go. Do it.
Yeah.
We have heaps of time.
We do.
We could do this for 5 hours.
That's true. We can do this for as long
No
as
one
we
would
like.
listen, but we would.
But we would. We love talking about it. So it's fun.
exactly. Yeah. If you're interested, I'm interested.
Yes. AI. We've come across it a bit this week. Like people
this
talking
last
about
week.
it, and I think we need to embrace it.
You think so?
Yes.
I think we should kill it with fire.
Really?
No, it's been pretty handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes your life easier. It makes things easier, and the people that learn to embrace it, the people that are going to be able to ride the wave. And
This is this is a whole other. We could talk for hours just on AI. I think
we could.
Yeah,
But in terms of creating ideas,
it's a great tool.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Should we try? I want to try.
Yeah, do it now.
I want to do it now. Let's see.
But then, did you see Casey? We talked about it.
Yeah, but in terms of ideas,
you just
I don't
gotta
think
spin your-
exactly. You got to use it to spark ideas.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there yet where it's like it's going to give you everything. But let's try. Give me 10 ideas to create videos for my personal training business.
I've just got chat box.
Here are 10 ideas. Okay, so straight away it's given me workout tutorials, quick workouts, client success stories, nutrition tips, common mistakes, behind the scenes fitness challenges, equipment tutorials, motivational content, a live Q&A session.
Those are
Within
really good ideas.
10 seconds,
Yeah.
I got 10 ideas.
Yeah.
They might not all be great or they might not all relate to you, but there might be one in there that sparks an idea that gets you going.
Yeah. You
That's
just
all
have
it
to
took.
act on them.
I just got 10 ideas
Yeah.
by just asking AI.
That kind of AI I do like. It is very handy.
Very
Yes.
handy, especially if you're a business and you're time poor
Yeah.
or you're struggling, like you don't think you're very creative. That's enough to get you going.
One of my big things, well, sorry, this is probably showing our age here, but I used to do newsletters to my clients and whatever
Wow.
when I was PTing and stuff. And all I would do is I would get a men's fitness magazine, and usually they have 10-ish bullet points on the front cover. And so that's that month
Very
of
good.
ideas
Yep.
in your newsletters or your topics or videos or whatever, because that's what obviously they've done the market research
Yes.
and that's what they
So
were
true.
wanting.
Very
And
good, Quinn.
that was one of my biggest cheat sheet things. And all my clients would be like, oh, fuck, this
Yeah,
guy really,
man.
and it's added value.
Yep.
And they were just like, oh, he really knows what he's. Meanwhile, I'm just taking those ideas, I'm stealing those ideas and just putting my own spin on it and sending it out.
Yep.
And it was really handy because I didn't have to think it too hard about it.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And you're so right. Like businesses, those magazine companies would spend so much money. They'd have a marketing team
Yeah.
and invest so much in figuring out what were the headings that would attract people the most. And you just, all you have to do is
Just
look at the
steal
front
it.
cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
And there are all the topics that you could talk about because you know people are
Fashion,
interested in it.
Vogue, like, yeah, all that. There's the camera
Yep.
magazines,
And I
like
think
heaps.
the equivalent of that right now, like in this current world, is probably just looking at trending topics. So if
Yeah.
you were to look up your industry, what are the trending topics? You probably just look it up in the search bar of TikTok or Instagram.
Any
There's heaps.
Mm.
And then using that as your like
basis
it's
for all your
basically
ideas.
telling you this is what people are interested in right now. This
Yeah.
is what they want to know.
And then you just have to work off that. Usually the best ideas are simple, and that's a simple idea that you can just work off of and create some amazing content from.
Yep.
And it really works. Trust me, it really works. It helped me for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, it's a good tip. As soon as I found out, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. Same thing here.
Yeah, and you have to, as much as I hate trends, you have to embrace them.
Do you? Well, what kind of trends are you talking about? Because like, there's the trend of what's the new one now? It's like that dance,
Yeah, I'm not
da
a fan.
da 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 da, and you change
Yeah.
outfits versus.
I don't know, but if you're a business, you need to embrace. If you're a business, you're trying to
stay
It's about
relevant.
attention, right? And it's
On social media.
on social media. The algorithm, it's telling you, it's literally telling you this is what people are responding to.
Mm.
So if you avoid it, it's to your detriment.
Yeah, don't have that boomer mindset of like, oh, I'm going to stick to what I've been doing for the past,
Yeah.
20 years.
Depends on what the point of what you're trying. If you're making content because you're trying to gain awareness and attention, and you want more eyeballs on your brand, you have to. You don't have to, but
It
it
helps.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it helps.
Definitely helps get more eyes on your product.
Mm.
And with more eyes comes more potential customers. So
Yep.
it's a win-win. It's just about actually
And if you're going to do
finding
it, there's
the
no reason
trends.
why you can't also just put your own spin on it too.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to. I just hate the copy the exact same
where there's no personality.
zero.
It's like you're just doing the exact same thing, copy paste. Yeah,
Kills me.
that's creative bankruptcy, I think, because that's the easiest way to get lost in it all. Because you'll never have that. Yeah, those ideas are the worst. They're not original, and you're just copy pasting. That's not stealing like an artist. That's just stealing, and it's just shit.
Yeah.
It's literally just shit.
And that's what I hate about social media. That's
Yeah.
what I hate. It's the theys that we were talking about
The
before.
theys.
The algorithm pushes shit.
Yeah, it does.
And it's really annoying because
You have to fight to fight for your algorithm and fight.
you do,
fight
but
to
it's
see.
I just think I hate it. I hate it so much, man.
Is it? Do you think it's because we're old?
No, it's not. It's because like the algorithm where we live, because you hear in other countries it's different, but it pushes. If the algorithm is, if you see a person dancing to a song.
Oh, we were gonna do this. Was like a whole other episode.
It
Yeah, I
is.
remember.
Keep
No,
coming
no, no.
back to it.
Yeah,
but if
go.
someone dances to a song,
Yeah.
and you see that it gets millions of views,
Yeah.
and then you scroll and you see another person doing that exact same dance, it gets 1 million views. You feel like if you want views, you have to do that same fucking dance.
Yeah.
And it's so annoying. And it's not that they say, oh, this is what people want to watch because that's why it's getting views. But the algorithm is saying, like, is pushing those videos. So people copy it because they just see the views.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I want those views, so I need
The validation.
So whatever the algorithm decides to push is what people are going to do. So it's like what comes first.
The chicken or the egg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if the algorithm starts pushing good creativity and people that actually care about the art, people are going to be like, oh, wow, that got a ton of views. I should do something original and creative. But it doesn't. It pushes all this other bullshit and it makes us all think that that's what we have to do. And we're all fucking just sheep that just do the same shit.
Be an
And it's
artist.
really
Don't be a
annoying,
sheep.
man. Yeah.
Don't be a sheeple. Yeah. put you have to add some personality to it or something of yourself.
The thing is, you don't have to anymore.
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have
true.
to. You can just copy the exact audio, do the exact same. Like you have to. You don't need to be original to have these things blow up. And it's kind of, as guys who actually put a lot of work and really want to make like cool stuff, there's a balance. Like you need to accept it to some point, but you don't have to fall into that if you don't want to.
Do you think China's going to win?
Oh, do you think it's true? Do you think if you go there,
I've seen it. I've seen it. It's completely different. Yeah.
See, don't you think that's concerning? Like that's not cool.
100%. And not even for like World War III or whatever. It's mainly for the youth. So one of my favorite guilty pleasures is there's a couple of content creators who do it, but they will go to places around America and interview people under the age of like 25, I think it is. So I think the age is between 18 to 25. People who are in college or people who are just outside of school. And they'll ask them like geography questions, math questions, that sort of thing. And it's like it's real simple stuff.
Yeah, I've seen this.
The most simple stuff. And they'll always get it wrong. And so it could be like, what's 3 plus 3? And they'll go 16. And then the guy will be like, yes. And then move on. And that sort of thing. I love all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And it is hard because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night about it, where it's up to the person about how educated you want to be. But yeah, I find that like with the mindless scrolling, especially versus over in China where it's like TikTok is only available between the hours of say like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever for kids under the age of 16 or something. They're only shown educational videos. There's no one dancing, doing stupid shit.
They've got the power to do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why they can't do that.
I think the most followed person in China is like a scientist or whatever. We had a conversation about this on a previous podcast, but so in the West, it's like the most valued job is like a YouTube or content creator, whereas over in like in China especially, it's like scientist, doctor, like all the young kids want to be this, astronaut still is up there, whereas like over here we've become so dumbed down and sold this, idealized career path about becoming a content creator or something, where it's like, oh, that's the most desired thing, as opposed to but it's the mindless scrolling. Scroll with intent.
It's a problem. We're idolizing the wrong people.
Yeah,
there are people that are actually.
Who's that dancing girl? I can't remember her name. Charlie D'Amelio, most followed or whatever, just for dancing. Crazy.
It's cool because it's like you can do something fun.
All right, so let's hold accountability to one another. Who is the one creator that you follow who's like smart or is a science in that realm? So they're educating you on either geography, maths, or science, or some aspect of that, versus just content creation where we're watching landscapes or Peter McKinnon or Maddie, my mate Maddie. Love you, Maddie.
You love Maddie.
I do actually love him. I got into FPV because of him, so I do love that guy.
Yeah.
But is there anyone that you follow, or are we just talking?
No, I'm too, I want to learn about what we do.
True. So
I'm trying, if I need to be learning something about video and photography. Like, I love educational type of content. If they can make it entertaining and educational, I'm all in. But there are times where I'll watch something and then at the end of it, I would just be like that. I got nothing out of that. Like, I didn't learn anything. You'd see that it's got like millions of views. I'm like, how did this happen?
Was the pacing off, or was it like?
What do you mean?
Like
it would just be pointless.
Okay.
Like, at the end of it,
no message.
There's no message, and it's strange.
No takeaway.
No value.
What's the value?
I don't get it, because I think there's so many other videos that give way more value.
Yeah.
But they're just not
flashy.
No, they're just not pushed. Like, they're just no one.
It
doesn't get seen.
They don't push them.
I don't know, man.
I love conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it is a bit. It sounds very conspiracy.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on here.
But
if I was Google, And I
want those videos pushed. I want the videos that actually teach me something to be pushed. Maybe that's just what people don't want.
maybe
Which is true. Some people just want to have a laugh and they want to be entertained.
the
But
majority
very different.
outweighs the minority. Yeah.
I don't get it.
What? Well, I mean, if it were
Especially
up to
when
us,
you hear that in other
we
countries
wouldn't be
it's
here.
different.
We'd be running. I'd be swimming in a bath of money, drinking champagne. I guess if I
True.
ran YouTube or Google, billions of. I can't remember how much profit that Google made last year. Anyway, sidetrack. What kind of value do you think that we've offered today in our podcast? What's the takeaway?
You're not going to run out of ideas. Like,
You
I
can't
feel
run
like there's
out
an
of
abundance
ideas.
of ideas out there
Yeah.
if you just try a few simple things. Like,
Yep.
make it easy. There's so many ideas out there, and none of them are bad
Yeah,
ever. And you just have to start making them. Like, just start.
just start. Yeah, that's a good takeaway. I would agree. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us again on another episode of Kicking It with Kenny and Quinn. Until next time,
See you next week.
see you next week.